Myself, Dr. Futkenstein, is joined as ever by the frog from the Black Lagoon and Count Fitula himself, and we are delighted to be bringing you one of the best promos in the history of the world, as well as the best pro clubs information you can get, as well as the best foot information you can get, as well as the best Euro Super League you could ever want to be involved with. Tom, it is wonderful to have you here. I'm sorry about the creepy intro. I'm just a weird guy. But how are you? How are things? What have you been up to?
Mate, I am so hyped for this episode. We've got Ultimate Screamers back. We've been asking for this for years. I'm on holiday, so I've got all the time I want to be able to play the game and get involved in the Discord and pro clubs. Obviously, we've got a really nice episode planned for today, and we've also got a really good guest.
We do, we do. We have Count Fitula himself, the Vlad the Impaler, so to speak. He will put your head on a spike. Trust me. Um, I really messed up in pro clubs. I personally messed up in pro clubs, and he had a very, very, very good reason to give me shit, and I actually appreciated it because the next game I did get much tighter, and we won, which was the main point. How are you doing? And what have you been up to, my good friend?
I'm all good, much like our Tom here. I've got a week off, so I've been enjoying my time. I've put out a set of custom tactics today, looking ahead to the Ultimate Scream promo, week 2 of it, and just really enjoying my time, really. It's a weird thing to say about FIFA. Normally we're bitching by this point, or we've been bitching for months. But so far, so good.
You like the patch? You like the patch?
I don't know. I'm not against it. I'm not wholly against it.
That's the
That's a real
scariest
horror.
thing you'll hear all show. Why?
I don't think it's as bad as people are making out. I think it's a necessary step towards achieving some sort of balance.
I'll agree with you on that. I think they fucked up the balance,
Yeah, I think
but
they've
I
gone
think
too
it's
far
an
the other
achievable
way,
step.
but I think it was necessary, and
Yeah,
I think we're going to see this sort of yo-yoing back and forth until it settles on something we're sort of reasonably happy with. But I feel like this is a necessary
right.
step.
Okay, so I get that. I get that. I get that. That it's not that the patch is great. It's that the fact that they're actively every couple of weeks tuning or looking to see what's wrong with the game and making changes.
For the first time, it feels like you
And
can see a process because already
I saw.
they've come out and spoken about, hey, we hear you on the R1 dribbling. Maybe we need to sort of dial that back a little bit. So I'm not trying to give EA credit because I don't think it's a great patch overall, but it's nice to see that they are moving towards something that seems competent.
Okay, so for confirmation, he found a dead body. He didn't kill the person. Okay, so that's where we're at with that right now. Okay, so one of the things we want to do is that we are doing a huge giveaway on X. If you go to EAFC Friendly 2806, if you go to Dr. Foot PhD on X, you will see that we are doing an 18,500 FIFA point giveaway. There's no second prize. It is literally all yours. £130 worth of PSN or £130 worth of Xbox is going to be able to be available to you should you win that prize. It's going to be drawn on the 31st. All you got to do is follow the other 3 people in the post, like and repost, sorry, and you will be involved. It's going to be the 31st of October, so we are, by the time this show goes out, 2 days maybe away from that giveaway. So I hope you've been able to jump on board with that. So, what I wanted to do was talk about Frenzy, the thing we're all involved in, the thing we all have fun with. I was thinking sort of this week in Frenzy and sort of what's been going on. We have had the playoffs this week. We've played them pre and post patch. Um, Ryan, what was your opinion on the gameplay in Pro Clubs in the pre-patch in terms of how the game was playing? What issues did you come into, and post-patch, kind of what issues do you now have that you didn't have before?
I don't think the patch affects pro clubs nearly as much, but that could be because we play with 10 outfielders 99% of the time. So more often than not, we're not going to notice a lot of the differences we would otherwise see or that are magnified in Ultimate Team, because it's not very often where we're running at AI or we're dealing with AI. More often than not, we're playing up against somebody else or multiple somebody else's, and we're not having to deal with AI in our own team. So for me, I haven't noticed a tremendous amount of difference. Yes, R1 dribbling is worse. I was never a massive user of it. So personally, hasn't made a huge amount of difference for pro clubs. I think that needs to be said, because there is a big
Yeah,
gap between pro clubs gameplay and Ultimate Team.
yeah, there is. And Tom, yourself, you play a slightly deeper position, more the link between the defense and the attack. Pre-patch, how was the gameplay for you, and have you felt any difference going into the post-patch on pro clubs?
Yeah, so we played, what was it, 4 or 5 games pre-patch?
Five, I
Five
think it
five
was.
games. So yeah, I believe we were 4-1. We lost on
Yeah,
penalties, which is kind of a sickener because the AI goalkeeper that we've got on pro clubs, they're broken, so they don't really dive. So it is just luck of the draw, really, you versus them. I felt like before the patch, it was very zippy. You had a lot of people who could do a lot of technical dribbling very well, with the R1 dribbling specifically. We've kind of lost that now as we've got into post patch. We've played like another 4 or 5 games last night, I believe it was. And we're coming up against more target men, more brutes kind of in the midfield now. I feel like it's kind of the safety blanket with every patch, really, is just as long as you win your 50-50 battles, and then you can kind of work from there. So again, I know that yourself and Mitch and Bertie and Josh last night, you came up against quite the target man on several occasions. Sometimes, they got the better of us once, but to be fair to you boys, you worked with it really, really well. In terms of working in the midfield with this post patch, we're still kind of sussing out what works well. So we're just going back to basics, as I said, a lot of pinged passes, a lot of just keeping the ball on the floor. But we've had a chat in the boardroom today, a very brief one, albeit, about maybe moving formations with this new patch. So again, we'll have to kind of see. But what are your thoughts, Doc?
I thought before the patch that it felt quite zippy, like you said. I felt like a bit deerish in defence, where I was very much staggering to keep up with people. If people were to turn very quickly, I had to turn with them. Post patch, I felt like I'm as stiff as them. Like if they turn, I stiffly turn as well.
Mm.
And if I'm trying to get into a position to win a ball, the tactics now seem to be more direct, like you said. So you tend to be dealing with knockdowns, which make things a bit more difficult. And one of the things that was really annoying was when we were playing against any, the attacking AI was too good.
Yeah, I
It was
thought
too
that
good
too.
because they would be there would be so me and Mitch would be marking, and the attacking AI would be near us, and then as soon as they would switch, they would. It's so strange that the
Yeah,
difference between the AI and a player is crazy, and I really felt that. And when we did it pre-patch, and I'm not just talking about the playoffs, but the games. That wasn't there. The attacking AI had limitations based upon itself, whereas now in Ultimate Team and in pro clubs, I feel like the defensive aspect of strikers, wingers, cams
yeah,
as it's better than their stats should be.
yeah, 100%.
So, for example, like my passing from out from the back is better post patch than it was pre patch. It shouldn't be. I should still struggle with passes. I hit a 40-yard left foot ball to a right back. I've got two-star weak foot. It went
Yeah,
straight to him. That shouldn't happen, you
yeah,
know. Pre-patch, I felt like locking on was really difficult. Post-patch, you can lock on, but weird things happen.
yeah. That's
Um,
it.
so, for example, like Mitch never loses a ball ever, ever, ever. His body position is 100% perfect every time, especially in the box. He was 100% perfect on this guy, and he got tackled in the air by a striker. So it was one of those things where then last night I went into champs, played some games, 3-1, and um, I had strikers tackling me on the press and winning the ball back, and it felt like you don't have the interception. Your interception ability shouldn't be that high. Your ability to tackle me shouldn't be that high. You shouldn't be able to outstrength certain players. So, for example, my defender was outmuscled by a very small player last night. In Ultimate Team, when I went into it, who was it? Somebody who shouldn't win anything. Solskjaer was winning tackles in the box. And it's like that shouldn't be happening.
No.
So I feel like some things have been buffed that have made players who don't have the ability have the ability.
100%.
And I think that's in pro clubs, you can sense that when your main job is to kind of lock on and make one tackle or one attempt. And if the lock on from the post patch could be put with the pre patch gameplay, then I think we'd have a much more enjoyable experience.
100%.
Yeah, but that's my experience from the back. I know further forward, I know that you guys have had to play against AI defenders in pro clubs as well. So I didn't know how much that was impacting the attack, so to speak, with the patch. Post to that, away from that, the boys over at Frenzy Blitz have been on a tear. They have been playing in, I think it's the Division 4 maybe
Division 4
playoffs.
or 3.
I thought
One
it
of
was
one of
three.
those.
I thought it was
Three.
yeah.
And they are currently 7-0 with 3 games to play. So congratulations to Gav, who has done a phenomenal job. Congratulations to Steve, the VC over there, and the whole team for coming together. I do want to do a little shout out to one person. We have a CDM in the Blitz team, Sheep to Goated, and he fucking is, man. He is brilliant at what he does, and I just want to give him a shout out as someone who has a really perfect CDM in front of him in one team. To have someone who's kind of like a mini version is really, really good for the whole Frenzy organization, because it means that we've got people who can step up, and it also means that we've got an identity within the organization as well, where we look at the team and go, we have a style of play. Frenzy has a style of play that's expressive, open, aggressive, tight, and Blitz has a style of play that's kind of more like Sunday League, in your face, screaming, shouting.
I feel
A
like
little bit
the
of
Frenzy
little bit of
Blitz
piss
side.
taking goes on as well, but that's because of the captain, and I gave him some shit for that. We were 3-0 up, and he's like, "Hey lads, watch this!" And he started dribbling from right back to the goalkeeper because he wanted to mess with someone. And I was like, "What are you doing?" But you know what Gav's like, Tom.
Oh, of course. Gav for the EAFC Frenzy team plays at right back, and I think that Gav kind of epitomizes the whole, as you said, there's an identity with the Blitz team. However, I feel like the Blitz team kind of plays a bit more with the shackles off, shall we say? They're a bit more
Yeah.
like, let's go gung ho, let's absolutely go for these lads, and you've even got Gav playing striker for the Blitz side.
They get a
So
fucking
he does
nosebleed
well.
at that, way.
he's knocking, yeah, he is getting a nosebleed, but he's knocking the goals in.
He's doing a really good job, actually.
I've had a
It's
couple of
painful.
sessions watching himself and Smithy, and again, I'm sure you can agree, boys. Smithy jumped in last night for the EAFC Frenzy side. What a great cameo that he had last night in those 4 or 5 games. I think he scored easily double figures in those games, didn't he?
Yes, and from my experience with him, he's very much a confidence player. So
100%.
the fact that he got that goal early in the first game, I think, or he got an assist early in the first game, once
Yeah,
he gets going, he really is like one of them Premier League strikers where it's like, oh, you've not scored for 6 games, and then they go on a 12-game scoring streak. Like,
that's it.
he really is like that. I mean, how did you find it playing with him, Ryan?
Yeah, it's different. He's a lot less direct than Griff, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that with Griff, he's almost like this knife that just carves through everyone in front of him anyway. So it's been very, very different in the front line, and just adapting to that style of play. Obviously, we've got Darren back up top now as well, and Darren's very much your false 9 type. So it's been different. I've enjoyed playing with Smithy because it's allowed to build up that sort of relationship and that understanding that we may have to rely on from time to time. I think that's been the biggest benefit. because obviously, as lovely as having Griff or Darren around is, sometimes there will be occasions where we do have to dip into reserves or do have to borrow from the blitz side, and upskill people really. And that's not to disparage Smithy or anyone from the blitz side in any way. But there are going to be times where we're going to be a centre mid short, a striker short, a right back short, whatever, and we have to say, "Hey guys, anybody free tonight? Come and play with the firsts and tussle with the big boys."
Yeah, yeah. It's very much Blitz is really fun and enjoyable, and kind of like we kind of understand our place a little bit and where we're at, and then coming into Frenzy FC is kind of like it's fun when we win. That's it. Anything else is
That's the
devastating.
standard, though.
And I can,
That is how it
I've
has
brought,
to be.
I can. Do you know how intense it is, guys? Last night, literally, every time I wasn't thinking about something, I was thinking about the 4-2, and I just kept on. I was just there. I was just thinking, fuck. I can't believe he scored them goals. I can't believe he got past me. I can't believe how poorly I played. And I just kept on throwing my head ahead all the way through to that goal in the next game that the header was. And I was like, okay, you can either collapse now or you can pull yourself together and have a good game. And I managed to pull myself back together and have a good game. But there is a expectation.
Mm.
And that expectation is that you'll do your job. And if you don't do your job and other people have to do it for you, then you're going to get pointed out. And that's important in a team, that you have characters that can turn around and go, yeah, you're right, actually, I did fuck up and I need to do better, because that makes you a better player. So anytime, I just want to put that out, anytime good people critique you, whichever way they do it, they try to do it to make you a better player and a better person in the game. So if you are a bit of a snowflake and somebody says something and it affects you, just try your best to take the best from it, and know that people are trying to help you grow. That's the most important aspect of being part of a team or pro clubs or anything, is that you've got to take criticisms to grow, and you have to take responsibility for things, but then move on and just be like, okay, on to the next one. It's all done now. But yeah, we had a good night last night. The loss was really unfortunate, but then we came back and won, and we're 9-2. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. Yeah, we showed the grit, we showed the determination. There are those games where we will lose, and they will happen. I'm sure that we can all agree it would be very obnoxious to think that we're going to go in and win every game, or even that we're all going to play very well every game. The most important part is how you bounce back. It's not about that really bad game that you've had. Of course, you can learn from those things, but there's multiple things that go on in those matches that can cause us to play the way that we do. A lot of our players, as you said, Smithy last night, confidence player. So we respond in different ways, and it's just about knowing how we can communicate that within the match and also after the match. But in terms
Yeah,
of how we played in that game afterwards, really, really good, really professional. We did concede one goal to, again, a target man, which is something new that we've got to adapt to now. But yeah, we got 4 goals in that next game, which is
yeah,
about average of what we're getting. In the 11 matches we've played, we've scored 50 goals, we've conceded 8. 4 of those 8 were in one game where it capitulated. I made an error. I did a ball where I was on a spin almost, and I put a lot of power into it, but it just went at chest height at their player and they intercepted it. So these kind of things you can't really plan for. These games will happen, but as I said, the most important part is that we stick as a team, we keep encouraging each other in the right way, and then we go on to the next match and do what we did. We finished on a high. It could have been a really negative end to the evening if we just took that 4-2 loss and logged off. But fair play to the lads, the whole team, for carrying on for that. And we've got 4 games left now, 4 big finals. We've got Griff back on Wednesday. I believe that's the final run-in that we've got before it refreshes on Thursday. So it will be nice, and all credit to Smithy. Incredible cameo, and we're going to need him. We're going to need lots of players, but it would be nice as well to get that absolute killer up front in Griff in these final games. It's always that last stretch that we have in champs or in clubs playoffs where you need someone to pull you out of the bag, last minute, just that kind of clutch moment that we definitely know Griff is capable of. But I know we've spoken about Smithy, we've spoken about clubs, we've spoken about Blitz. We got to give a huge shout out to Josh for stepping in at right back last night. As someone
yeah,
who's been a centre back, a left back, and now right back last night, he showed exactly, you know, there's a lot of potential there in terms of the communication between yourself and him, Doc. last night. You're always talking on that right-hand side. And, the first game he played, it was a bit of a shock for him, wasn't it? Because there was a couple of balls zipped in behind, and it was kind of like,
Yeah,
right, there's a different pace to this now. I
yeah,
think that is
yeah.
something that in the Blitz team, when you do step up to play for the AFC Frenzy side, you can kind of see, oh God, they're a lot of divisions higher. They're playing against teams where there's more players on the pitch. It is a lot more focused and a lot more intense. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? We've had Smithy step up, we've had Josh step up, and we've got Griff to come back now.
If I'm being
Ryan, I'd
brutally,
love.
sorry, go
Yeah.
on, Doc.
No, I want to hear your thoughts,
If I'm
please.
being brutally honest, I look at it and I look at this playoff run almost like a trial run, because we haven't had our first team top to bottom for the full set of games, which isn't always possible, I accept, but it has felt sort of disjointed at times. And I agree, we can't go into it expecting to win every single game. However, the 2 losses we've taken, I feel like were games we should have won, because they were games where we had the opportunities to, and we made various errors or mistakes. And that's not me pointing fingers. It's just you can see where we've not been bested yet by terms of we've played someone who's gone, they're just better than us. And we're the first people to say that when that happens. It has happened in the past, but I don't look at either game and feel that way.
No.
And I think the frustrating thing for me is I look at the team and I can see that there's another gear again. And it's just about getting to that point. I feel like we're at 85-90% of the standards we were last year. And goes without saying, I know I'm the pantomime villain in the team, but for me, I want that next 10%. That's where my mind
See,
goes to.
I expect us to win every game.
So do I.
I'm with you. I expect us to win every game, and if we don't,
It's
then
not good enough.
I'm shocked. Yes, it's not good enough. Like, why didn't we win that? And why? How can we make sure we don't let that happen again? How do we stop that? Like, I was texting Tom, and I was just like, "Fucking hell! I should have been more honest and been open in the game, and I should have communicated. I can't handle this guy by myself. We got to stop the ball to him. Can somebody come and help me?" But I didn't, and I guess I was too proud or not. Didn't think about asking for help. So that's what I should have done in that game. So like you say, there's things in the game where you go, I've had done this, which is hindsight,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
of course.
coachable
Yeah.
hindsight. So you look at it and go, okay, next time if I've got a 5'6" dude on me, I'm just gonna have to be like, I'm a foot taller than this guy. I need help. Yeah, so you're completely correct. There is other gears to it. One thing from just my own game, my passing. So instead, what I'll start to do now is instead of just passing to the right back, I've started just taking a step and then looking forward. And if there's a wide enough gap, I'll pass to the central midfielder, which is one thing I've started doing, which has helped us progress forward in our play instead of it just going to a right back and then ended up being on the right side and stuck in the corner. So I totally agree with you. There are other levels to go, and I think with the what are we 4 days away from level 60
Yeah.
achievable? I think that's going to make a big difference.
100%.
I think being able to unlock all signature playstyles now will be pretty cool with the 300 extra points. I think I worked out that's enough points to get Capitano on the centre back. And I know that there's other aspects to both of your games where you can add things in that are going to make a big difference. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about pro clubs. And I, again, recommend it to anyone, either from the fun side or if you are fortunate enough to be coached and taught by people who are very good, play at an intense level. It is a hell of a lot of fun. However, moving on, we are going to talk about the horrors of the patch. What the fuck happened and what even is a dribble? Ryan, I got to ask you, mate, what the fuck happened like to R1?
I was confused by the patch when it first came out because I didn't think R1 was the issue at all. It was left stick dribbling. When we were getting spun in the box, it wasn't R1 dribbling that was doing it. It was left stick dribbling. So I was very, very confused initially about that. So answers on a postcard, please, from EA as to why that happened. As I said earlier on, I think it was a necessary step. This feels like a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to the gameplay pre-patch. I feel like it was so ridiculously over the top and so poor defensively that they've almost gone completely the other way, to the point where dribbling now feels a little poor. I don't think it's awful. You can still use R1 dribbling effectively. Actually, I use a lot of L1 dribbling, and for me, that is by far and away the superior form of dribbling. Um, just because it feels, just because it feels like it's just very easy to get your shot off as a result. You almost set yourself nicer, especially if you've got players with Trivella or finesse or whatever. It seems to be really, really effective with those. But yeah, the defensive AI feels very, very strong. And I think that's what you were talking about earlier on, where we're seeing attacking players now defending like their stats are way above their station. And I think that's as a direct result of that. I think we're seeing defensive AI a little bit too strong. And there's a couple of ways I can see EA going with this. Either they buff technical dribbling and dribbling on the whole a little bit again. I hope it's not back to pre-patch levels because I think that was absurd. But then you've got these really big disparities of excellent dribbling and excellent defensive AI, and that could be interesting. The concern I have there is every mistake will be punished, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think it would make a massive skill gap, and that would be very, very interesting to see. But I have my reservations. But I'd be interested to hear some of your thoughts.
Yeah, you especially, Tom. I mean, how have you felt about it?
Yeah, so I feel like we've had this chat kind of privately in messages
Yeah,
between us. Kind of like the players who should be able to dribble really well can. So we spoke about Yamal still is a player who can definitely perform after this patch.
yeah,
I'm struggling against Pateas. I'm not going to lie at the moment. I played a game today where she scored a hat trick, and it's just like, I can't stop you. She's still got that body type that just works. But then on the flip side, we're seeing players like Claudia Pina, who was, 70k just 2 weeks ago. She's now fodder price. She's 9k. So it kind of does indicate where people are going on the market. It has gone, as Ryan has said, not just the gameplay's gone, from one end of a seesaw to the other, that kind of counterbalance. The market is also reacting. We're seeing more people go for those more brute strikers like Haaland as well now. I've come up against him quite a few times. We've even come up against that new Peter Crouch, who seems to have a bit of everything now, a bit of pace as a
yeah.
cam, technical dribbler, and 6'7". So these are all different problems that we're going to be facing. And again, it's an experimental period. And talking about experimental periods, do either of you feel like you're now playing against different styles? Is there new formations that we're coming up against? Because I've even found myself today using two different formations now. I've moved away from the diamond just for today because I felt like my wide centre mids were a bit too wide and there was a bit too much space. People are trying to zip the ball with direct passes now, so I want to keep that compact. So I've gone to a 4-3-1-2 now, and it's very defensively sound, but then not a lot going forward. There's not a lot of width because I use double fullback with versatile on there. But I've also tried the 5-3-2. I've gone back to that because I'm practicing all the different kind of ways that we're going to play in the Frenzy Person Super League. So I've gone with a 5-back, and I've been using Dumfries and an evoed Carlos Augusto, the left back from Inter Milan. And then just putting on whip pass plus on those and heading it in with Diego Forlan. There's so many different ways that we are playing now, and I'm experimenting myself. So the question to you boys is: have you been playing against anything that you might not have seen before the patch?
It's funny that you say that because I was literally thinking about how the dynamic now is crosses and headers, um, especially if you've got big or powerful strikers. So if you've got precision header, maybe you've got um, good strength. You're in a position where you can dominate in a way that you couldn't before. I'm facing a lot more 5-backs. I've noticed 5-backs with full-back defend as well, where people are just looking to directly counter, and the things that they're directly countering with are people like Mariona in midfield, and then sort of shorter female wingers combined with a big striker. So I've come up against Mario Gomez, who felt undefendable almost. If
Yeah.
Patro just wasn't such a big guy, I would have been in trouble with him. And in terms of the kind of tactics I'm coming up against, it's way more sit back,
Mm.
7 back counter,
Yeah.
not even a cam shadow striker anymore, like a playmaker build up
Yeah.
as far back as they can go. Um, it's not been enjoyable to play against, and finding gaps has been more difficult without the ability to technical dribble in the box with people who have either the white play style or
Yeah.
play style plus. Alexion did a great point where he was like, I don't care if you take it away, the ability to take it away from people who don't have the play style, but if you have the play style, you should still be able to execute. And I
100%.
think that's fair because you can't have technical dribble being so good on people who don't have it, and then defenders not having intercept. It's like you
100%.
need to find a balance between the two. So yeah, I don't know. I've not enjoyed it. I've not enjoyed who I've played against, and it's not been fun. And I've had to change tactically as well. I've had to make my left midfielder, instead of him being balanced, so he's just there to play football. He now has to be in attack because he now needs to break the line instead of coming inside and being part of the build-up play. He's like a third striker now because I need to counter, which I don't want to do, but I also like to win. So, like, I've got to adapt to a certain extent. I can't just go out on my shield, like, oh no, this is how I play, and I'll play this way forever. No, I'll stop playing the game at that point. Ryan, what about you? In terms of like maybe teams you faced, or in terms of play styles you might have come up against, maybe crossing, tiki taka, stuff like that. Have you found that those things have been much more effective in the game?
Yeah, so I've actually bothered to climb division rivals now because I've been neglecting it. But I've been doing it with my Porto team just to sort of get to grips with that. I'm noticing more wide formations. I think we're moving away from that central meta that we were seeing pre-patch. But I think that was more to do with trying to respond to the attack by just overloading the midfield and praying they didn't get through it. So I think we're we're bridging away from that because people are now trying to stretch the defense however they can. And I posted in the tactics I've put up. Box crasher seems to be like the new big thing in a double pivot. Um, just because it allows for that extra overlapping passing option, and despite the sit back counter meta, it's very, very hard to mark somebody who's running in from 25 yards from behind the line. You know, it's that Lampard run, that Yaya Toure run. It was very, very difficult to stop that. So much so that I've started messing around with the stopper role on the centre backs because it actually allows them to step up a little bit more aggressively. So where I've got my box crasher who's stepping up and potentially leaving a gap, yes, I've got another CDM pivot next to him to help cover. But in that slot there, I've also got a stopper centre back who will occasionally aggressively step up. Now, yes, that does carry some risk. However, I feel like it's a measured risk. You know, I back myself enough to execute that, but also now with fullback stepping away from that wing back strength down back into the more fullback defend, fullback versatile. I personally have gone with fullback versatile. Yeah, it's just interesting. We've done a lot more wing play. I'm still very happy with the overall concept that there's no one formation. And I think that's just a hangover from last year. We're still not
Mm,
seeing a one formation beats all, and I'm happy that that's the case for now. If nothing else happens, I just hope we don't go back to that.
yeah. What do you
100%.
think, Tom?
Yeah, when we look over on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, it feels like every other day people are, trying out something new. And, we expect that after a patch, everybody's kind of finding their own way again. But, like, just to, on another step onto what Ryan's just said, there are so many different ways that we can be diverse and play this game. And initially, was it last year they brought in roles? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Initially, I was kind of very skeptical, and I was thinking, oh, God, what does it mean if I'm in a role or if I'm not on a role? But actually, we're finding lots of different ways that we can play. I mean, yourself, Doc, with your 4-1-3-2, with your right and left
Yeah,
backs initially pushing all the way up. You would
yeah.
never have thought about playing your wing backs up that high. But
No,
this game allows you to do so many different things like that. And that's kind of what we're growing to love as well.
yeah, and I think 1v1 defending is such an asset that if you can 1v1 defend or slow the attack, then you really just need two centre backs and a CDM on holding.
100%.
You don't need your fullbacks to be back defending because with the inverted fullbacks and the wingers and the 95 depth, you're just trying to win the ball back further up the pitch. And the only problem with that formation is if you give away the ball in the middle of the field, you are screwed.
Yeah.
So it's really about being in control. So that's why I'm so angry about the dribble, is that I've lost this ability on the left side to have control. I think it's two parts. One part, Kvaratskhelia does not have any left midfield role plus. Secondly, his R1 dribble was so good that having the ball come further away from his feet has just meant that he can play into space only. He can't play into the field. So, I mean, that's how I felt. And really, I'd like to hear more about the box crasher from Ryan and really how that's changing his approach to tactics. Because to me, the inverted wing backs was like, oh wow,
Mm.
this is really cool. And then the box crasher was like, oh wow, I actually can have a progressive 4-2 whatever,
Mm.
in however I want to play. So I've used it in on the 4-1-3-2. Terrible to use on that formation, but I felt the impact of Kobe Mainu just like a steam train from midfield, just getting onto the ball and just right through the middle of the centre backs. Like can't be stopped. Too big, too fast, and then just finesse into the corner or power shot into the corner every time. How have you found it, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, more or less as you've described it, really. I just wanted to throw a different point out there and play devil's advocate a little bit. Now, pre-patch, we had a lot of talk on Twitter, and we've still got this really sort of tribalistic approach to FIFA. And I know Twitter's probably the worst place for it. However, one thing I heard, or the phrase I heard a lot, was skill gap. Now, a lot of people are complaining about this patch, rightly or wrongly, that's for them to decide. Why is the argument of skill gap not still viable? Or is it still viable? I would argue that in some ways it is. You know, Doc, you mentioned about the wing backs, and I agree. I loved having the ability to use wing backs, so I would like that to come back, if anything. However,
Mm.
is there not a skill in triggering runs and utilizing mechanics properly to offset that? You know, you could endlessly go around in circles on this, but it's just very, very interesting to me that that argument was applied to the last patch, but not this one.
I think it might be because people are complaining about the gameplay, and I think that they've got their once they've changed it, or once they've got people have got their head around it and adapted, then it'll become, oh, the skill gaps got shorter because defending's got easier,
Mm.
which it has. It has. It's harder to defend now if you switch players than it was before. If you just want to sit back with your CDMs and then change player when you intercept the ball in the box, it's really easy to do. So that's disappointed me. And I think that is the skill gap issue. That as much as there's an art to scoring goals and tricks, there's an art to stopping goals going in. And I think that's the skill gap. It's not in attack; it's in defending. And I think that I want to see a return to like actual manual defending, like everything else in the game. Like you can't. Could you imagine like playing the ball into a box for an auto header, like or playing the ball into a box for an auto finish? People would be outraged. They'd be like, "This isn't football." But you can have a centre back automatically tackle somebody when the ball comes near him. That's weird.
Mm.
So that I would like to see a return to because I'm good at defending, and it was a bonus for me. And I have played games where I'm just like, "You're so shit. You're so shit. All you can do is this one thing." Right, and not only can you only do this one thing, it's mechanics abuse. So I feel that there's so much shit going on that people have yet to come back to the skill gap argument. But I have seen it posted that lots of people who got 15 and O's have been getting 12 and threes, 13 and twos, and lots of people that were getting 6 wins are getting 9. So with that coming through, you either fall into the argument of we're a few promos in, people have upgraded their teams, people are much more competitive now. However, with the price of players and with the amount of coins that have been available to get from untradeable players as well as tradable players, etc., people are in a better position. So I don't know whether or not the skill gap has decreased as much as people say, but it's definitely decreased to a point where a 6-win player is getting 8, a 12, but a 12-win player is maybe getting 10, 11, because they're what made them good is no longer in the game. To an extent, it is
Yeah.
still in the game if you have a Playstyle Plus, and that's as it should be as well. I think Playstyle Plus are really, really crucial for that kind of thing. But in terms of how they fix it, Tom, what do you think? How do they fix it? I know we've had some communication from them where they basically said, "We hear you and we're going to make changes," but that doesn't really mean anything.
No, and they're very quick this year to carry on what they said before the pre-orders came out for this game of yes, communication is key. They've kept up with some of that in their own discords and channels that they've got there, so fair play to them for that. But again, how much does our voice matter? Because obviously at the moment they're going to be doing this. Can they keep up with it? That's another argument. There's lots of other issues that are going on in the game at the minute. One being PC players. So I really do feel for them at the minute because they haven't actually been able to finish a game for quite a while unless you change certain settings, which has now been found. But that shouldn't be part of this new patch, regardless. In terms of changing it, I've always been of the opinion of have a patch early on where everybody knows exactly what is wrong with the game. You've had a couple of foot chances behind you. Let EA listen to that bit now and then work on that patch then and kind of just leave that patch for a while because this game isn't like I'm frustrated with the new patch, don't get me wrong, but I think it's more because now I've got to change my style again. And I think this is what people get used to every year and they get annoyed with EA because it's every month or two there's a new patch where all of a sudden things feel different and you've got to change the way that you play. The market makes you lose coins or gain in some instances if you've got the right player. I know obviously you've got Patcho who's got Bruiser or Bruiser Plus, he flew up
Yeah,
in price. So it works, it works both ways, doesn't it? We've had Haaland before where it was lengthy running, went up by 200k. It works both ways. But if it were me in charge of it, I'd take the feedback from the community now, do one more patch where it's like, right, okay, after this patch, we're going to leave it for a while and we're going to keep working on the game. Obviously, they're going to be working on the next game as well. But I think people just need to get used to this style of play now after this next patch, not this current one.
you've
Yeah, it's
actually,
frustrating.
you've actually reminded me of something, and I meant to talk about it.
Not
Oh god, 1 minute.
a problem.
So many emails. Where is it? Okay, let me just find it in my email. So I've registered as an EA playtester,
Oh, okay.
and
So,
they are testing. Yeah, 100%. 1 minute.
be all over your Twitter now. Dr.
So
EA
so
Shill.
old. Um, Playtest dates. We have an exciting new playtesting opportunity. We'd like to invite you to join our latest EA Sports FC playtest. Playtest date 6th of November to the 18th of November. This is an early look at a new FC experience focused on testing a range of exciting features for releasing future EA Sport FC titles. A technical playtest with pre-release software, so may contain errors, blah blah blah. Platforms you can play on PS5, Xbox Series X. So they're planning something either for this FIFA, next FIFA, or potentially Footmas. Who knows? But they're asking for playtesters. Tom, what do you think of that?
I think they've run out of playtesters. If you remember the amount of YouTubers who are game changers, as they used to be called, when
Oh,
they got
Jesus
the access
Christ.
to the
Your
game.
boy.
And I don't know about you guys of who you watch. I don't really watch him anymore because politics side of things. Used to watch Nepenthes. In terms of like where I get my career mode fixed, Chesnoid Gaming, his name is fantastic YouTuber by the way, and he kind of spoke in depth on a stream the other day of how much say they actually get these game changers. Andy Castell, AJ3, he was another one. And all of a sudden they go, right, hang on, I'm a game changer, but my voice isn't being heard and I'm losing on the opportunity to promote coin sellers. So that's why we always see like your Danny Aarons of the world step away from being these game changers. And as the community say, sell out. But actually, if I were them, I'd be doing the same thing. If I feel like I'm not being heard and I'm missing out on the opportunity to promote coin sellers and gain a bit of money for my own back pocket to put in my streams, I'd probably do the same. There's not many left. You've got like your Batesons and that's it.
Well, in the terror of 1789 onwards. It was very much violence upon violence upon violence, and it kind of feels like that in the AI community, where whatever it is that the mob decides is the law now becomes the law. So, for example, Danny Aaron's incredibly popular. Genuinely seems like a really cool guy. Building his family, he's built his career from nothing, got himself healthy. Man, dude used to be really out of shape. Loaded up millions of points and then posted it, and everybody went, "You're a dick. What the fuck is the point of even playing the game?" And I think that was a wake up call to him that, like, oh, this isn't how people want me to play the game anymore. People want me to give people points so they can build their team. So instead of him posting his points balance or his team or anything like that, his strategy has turned to where the mob wants it to be, and the mob wants something for free. So he's doing these upgrades, and then he's putting little caveats in, like, and then we'll do a little selection of what player of the month you get to do. So I might give you the money to do Mbappe or whatever. And I think that's where we're at, is very much mob rule. And whichever way the mob moves, they go. And whoever's against the mob, yeah, they hate. Like oh my god, this is one of my favorites. So occasionally people will send me messages that are I'm not the nicest, not the nicest. So I did a post where I said the correct choice for Pogba, and it was just the SBC with no parts completed. And so I'm not going to say their name, but somebody replied with, "You simply disgust me."
He's not wrong, is he? He's not wrong.
But I was just like, what do you do with that? Like, there's no way you could go. And that is the mob mentality, is that you've got this Pogba delusion where people have been like, I must get this card. This card is great. It's only an 85, 86, 87 squad. That's fine. Doesn't sound like a lot. Unless you start
Yeah.
going looking at your team, you start building it from your duplicates, and you're like, oh god, what situation are we in?
What
We've
do I
really
start
fucked this up.
this?
So yeah, I think we're very much in the mob mentality phase, where people will go with whatever the majority want. Nobody wants to stand out. Nobody wants to be that guy to turn around and say, like Ryan said, EA have done a good job. They made a mistake, but at least they are communicating, live tuning. You know, as you said, Ryan, you're one for to be a very independent person. You're never going to be swayed by the mob yourself. What do you think of that, and the whole concept of kind of like the mob mentality of foot?
I was about to say, fuck that. I'll upset a few people. No, I think it's EA are in a difficult position here, because if you put a post out on Twitter tomorrow and had everybody who saw it engage with it, you would not get a coherent answer. You'd have a general consensus, but you wouldn't have any sort of uniformity to the responses. Everybody will have a different idea, and to a degree, that's to be, cherished and looked out for. However, at the same time, you'll also get these wildly differing opinions. And actually, this patch, and we can sit here and bash it, and there are definitely negative things about it. As I said at the start, I feel it's a step in the right direction. I'm not saying it should be the finished product. There are still a lot of things I'd like to see changed. However, it feels as though it's a necessary step as part of a process, and that, at the very least, should be celebrated. Okay, cool. It's not where we want it to be, but it's a clear move in response to what we were complaining about en masse.
Yeah,
So, with that in mind, I don't see it as a bad thing. I'm quite happy that this has happened. And yes, I will have my frustrations about it, but it will also give EA the necessary feedback to act upon it. Now, in terms of if we get down to brass tacks and specifically what I would like to see changed, I'm happy to put my neck on the line and say exactly what I'd like to see personally. I'm not saying that this is right, but just what I think would be beneficial. I would leave left stick dribbling alone as it is. I would, however, maybe not quite pre-patch, but I'd certainly return R1 dribbling to some level of its former glory. And I'd be quite happy with the idea of L1 or R1 being strong if you can use it. Leave left stick alone. I don't think it's in a bad place. Defensive AI could use with a little bit more sort of tuning, but I don't think it's a lot. I don't think we're that far away from a positive game or a complete experience. We're sat here, we've seen both sides now, and as you said on Twitter, there's a lot of vitriol both ways. Pre-patch, that could not have continued. I will stand by that, and I like pre-patch, but that level of goal scoring, absolutely not sustainable, and actually would have got worse, because as the game would have went on, typically up until right towards the very end, attackers throughout the year outstrip defenders, and we would have seen the most ridiculous gameplay across the course of the next 6 months. That's not sustainable. I didn't like it. I didn't want to see it. Yes, I enjoyed aspects of pre-patch, but I can see where it was heading. Equally, I see where this is heading. This is going to bore the life out of people. However, it still feels like we're sort of swaying back and forth, and yes, there are highs and lows, but the highs and lows are becoming less extreme. We're getting less high highs and less low lows, and I'm okay with that. That's part of this process. I think that's where a lot of people forget and just refuse to understand. It's got to be this knee-jerk reaction to everything, and these really extreme reactions for what? Yes,
No, absolutely.
yes, these things are going to happen. Yes, you're not going to like all of it, but politely deal with it, give your feedback, try to learn it to the best of your ability. And if you don't like it, you can always step away from the game. I'm not saying that that's a model EA should adopt, but we as the consumer have that ability. But you can give your feedback in constructive ways. And I really, really do not feel like we are that far away from a complete game.
And that's really interesting what you said there as well. It is kind of our responsibility to kind of act upon whatever patch we've got now, because you speak to so many people and you ask them that question like we're discussing now. How are you finding it? How are you finding the patch? And some people say great, some people say terrible, but then you ask them to elaborate on why it's great or why it's terrible, and they say it just is, and they're not actually taking that ownership of going, oh, I need to do this, or this once worked. Why is it not working now? They're not actually doing that bit of research or taking ownership of going, I need to change now. EA have already shown their cards. They've given you the patch. We've gone from games where it was fidget spinning Claudia Pina scoring, 5-6 goals a game, to now, obviously, we're having a few more shutouts, a few more like 1 goals or 2 goals a game. But again, I think it is, and again, like you said, right, we've got to put our own opinion out there, whether people like it or not. We've got to adapt to the game the way it is. They're not going to keep changing it. And I don't want them to keep changing it either. We've gone from that balance of like 10, 15 goals a game. I had a game where it was 11-9. I've never conceded 9 in a game ever. And to have a goal every 4.5 minutes in 90 minutes, 20 goals scored, tell me how that is a proper game, So I'm glad that they've made these changes. Again, that seesaw has gone from one end to the other. We just need to kind of balance it out for now. But my question to you boys is, we're in the Ultimate Screen promo now. We're seeing a lot of kind of different cards surface. We've got the new Burmo with a power shot. We've got technical dribbling Peter Crouch. Is there any cards that have maybe come out and maybe shown you a new path that you can play? Because I've looked at that Burmo and I've gone, I think he's either got low driven or he's got power shot plus now.
Shot.
And I've gone, yeah, power shot. And I've looked at it and I've gone, I've got a Diego Forlan in my club here for my Inter team, and I never use a power shot plus. I'm going to give it a go now. Maybe this is something that we can try out with this new patch. And I've got to say, the 2 things that I've learned most is tiki-taka in the midfield is a must at the minute, because people are so compact. Having that quick passing on and off is really, really beneficial, which is why like your Pedris are very, very good. But now I'm finding, I don't know if you've managed to try it, and if you haven't, please go ahead and give me feedback on it. I'm finding a lot of tiki-taka passing into a striker, and a first time power shot plus is absolutely killing people at the minute. I don't know if this is a new broken thing or whether it's always been in the game but people have never been using it. So again, looking at this Ultimate Screen promo, yeah, it used to be that way, didn't it? And it was very, very
news to me. Like, that's new to me. I didn't know
news.
That.
Yeah. It's something that I've been trying out today. I've had a bit more time on my hands, so give it a go. Let me know, and obviously our listeners out there as well. Give it a go, and let us all know if you're having any success or anything with the new patch. But I've looked at the new promo. I'm looking at who we could possibly have next week in there. Selfishly, I've looked, and I think Footbin or FootGG gave a prediction of a Kalanoglu who really deserves a card. I think he's dodged a team of the week about 2 or 3 times.
Okay, you don't need any more cards.
Oh, I do. I absolutely
do. You are a glutton. Do you know how many special cards? I've got 1 special card for my sporting team. Do you know which one it is? No, I've got two. I can either spend
Ooh.
8 million coins on Cristiano Ronaldo or 1.7 million coins on Rafael Leao.
Why don't you then?
Stop it. Stop it. Stop
Can't
it.
you get Power
Not fair.
Futura? Don't misremember that. You can get that as a
Yeah,
300k.
you
Oh, no,
know.
no. I've got an accumulation of. I've got like. I've been slowly accumulating wealth very quietly, and then when we go to play, I'm going to go and buy Rijkaard and Futre and all
Oh,
that
so
I've
stuff.
got
you're
two
doing
cards. I've got two cards. Right card, Futura.
I think we've got the
That's what
same
I'm going to
plan here,
do.
Doc.
Yeah, yeah. But talking about what you said about Ultimate Scream, there was a card that came out that when I saw it, I was just like, so in love. I adore Marek Hamsik. I adore
Oh,
his loyalty to Napoli. I adored him as a footballer. He was the one guy that I always wanted United to sign. He just was so consistent, so hard running, did everything possible. And with my formation and having a central midfielder, they brought out a screen card for Hamsik that has the Mohawk, which is incredible, but it also has incisive pass plus. 80 defending, 88 passing, 87 dribbling, and obviously his shooting. We all know it's almost legendary in terms of what he can do. And in terms of his play styles, power shot, long pass, press proven, relentless, all the kind of things that you want. He's got box to box, playmaker, holding, really everything you could want from a card if you're somebody like me that wants that complete midfielder. So that one stood out. The other thing that stood out to me is the very, very funny Batty, all those kind of cards. I've thought the moon. I've appreciated that. I've appreciated the humor coming back. I've appreciated the sort of what would you call it? I don't know.
Whimsy.
There's been an overarching control of the game that's been dictated by FIFA in terms of how and what can be celebrated. And now that it's an independent organization again, it can do things like Ultimate Scream,
the shackles
which
are off.
yeah, which is just it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to do. It's like look at this card. So
Politics
one of
versus profit.
yeah, well, I mean they're making
Oh,
money.
could you imagine
They're
if they get
making money.
Footmas back in the 12 Days of Foot? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I think it's going to
Where
happen.
do I sign for
I
that? Whose soul do I sell?
I don't. Tom's
Fine,
obviously.
sold.
Done.
Um,
Gone.
again,
Yeah.
again. Um, yeah, no, Footmas would be. I mean, I think they're going to bring it back. And see, this is one of the things. But we've got Ultimate Screen. We've got a promo. That's great. We've had enough promos now that people do have a few promo cards in their club. Um, people didn't. Well, less and less people gave a shit about how many what packs were in the store when the game was better. Now that the game's a bit muddy, people are complaining. Oh, there's this many packs in the store. There's this. There's that. Ultimate Scream should be like their big event where they basically set the tone for the rest of the year. And unfortunately, what they've done is they've started the promo and then they've killed a load of the cards that they've put in the promo, like Peter Crouch, who should be like ridiculously silly to use, which is the whole idea of Ultimate Scream. Now, obviously, one of the things that has been historical about it is the upgrades that come from it. Now, back in the day, you'd have upgrades that would come different times throughout the year, and then in March, April, they would settle on one individual one. Like I remember Gary Medell got 99 shooting one year, which was hilarious because a few years later they did a silver card for him that had 99 long shots, which was kind of funny. Yeah, Fellaini ended up with 99 shooting. Busquets was a hell of a card. That PK card that was the SBC that everybody thought was donkey, and then Piquelme did it, and it was like he had it in his team for the whole year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm excited about stuff like that. But do you think that taking that away, the 99 final attribute, is a good idea? Do you think that with the way the game plays now versus how it used to play, it's more important to have a more balanced card this early in the game? What do you think about that, Tom?
I think, they've mentioned, well, how many times has it changed? Is it the next two full
Two.
moons? The next two.
Next two moons, the
Okay,
Beaver Moon and something else.
that's it. So I think in terms of the promo, it gives a lot of hype. It gives a lot of anticipation for that promotion even after it's gone. Okay, so this is kind of their way of going, we can afford a promotion further down the line that's almost a filler. However, during this filler promo, there's also the change of the Scream card, so it kind of brings that hype back. And I think this is their way, thinking my business mind on, of them kind of controlling the market still. It's a different way of just going, right, how can these people make or lose coins? Most of the time people will lose coins because they've gone from a really good 99 stat to one that maybe they don't need. Maybe their cards already got, say, 90 passing, now it's 99, but actually they've only got 50 pace, so it would have been better for them to have 99 pace, like your Busquets, like you've said previously.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting one. I do like the promo. I'm hoping Team 2 is better. They've got a really, really, really unique opportunity here. I'm right in saying the new season passes this Thursday?
Yes.
They could quite easily bring all of the new heroes in Ultimate Scream. There's your trick or treat. There's your new one on Friday. Here's all your new heroes. Let's have a charisma that maybe is a left wing card instead of a right wing card.
No,
as
keep
his
them right
new
mid.
one.
No.
Well, they keep doing all
Finesse
of these
shot.
different ones. You've got, oh my gosh, change. That's another thing. Are they changing the playstyle pluses on these 99s, or is it just the 99 stat?
I think it's just the stat.
It's the stat, but I think that people get. I think
rolls,
that
isn't it? They get different
they're
rolls.
all getting rolls by the end of it. They're going to have roll plus for everything by the end
and
of
that
it.
stays then, doesn't it? That stays with the card as the game progresses.
Yeah.
How good would that have been if they changed to Playstyle Plus instead of a 99 stat? Could you imagine the upheaval of one night buying an Imbermo and he's got Power Shot Plus and you've bought him for 200k, which he's on the market right now. You wake up the next day and he's got like Rapid Plus or Quick Step or Technical Dribble.
I'm going to throw a different idea out there. Very similar in concept. Rather than the 99 stat, which I actually still like, I'm not against it. I like the idea because to me that is Ultimate Scream. It is that ludicrous card, that's part of the fun. So actually, I wouldn't want it changed. But if we are in the business of changing it, I would love to see if they do the full moons thing, they drop the second play style. So they get the second play style for that 2 days or whatever it would be. They get that so that's their. This is what they could have. So if they had Power Shot on Embuemo, it now gives him Rapid Plus. He loses that then after the full moon. It comes back again. And then right at the end, after the promo's been and done, it's months down the line, rather than give them the rolls plus, they could still do that, but also keep that playstyle plus. So we almost know ahead of time that, hey, on, I don't know, January 12th or whatever it would be, that the Halloween stream cards are going to get their second playstyles back permanently in line with the introduction of the second playstyle plus down the line.
That would be cool if PS Pluses had been around for two promos, two of them together, because then everybody's got a chance to pack our card with two.
Yeah.
I also feel that with the power curve the way that it is, that we're seeing 87, 88 rated cards that don't have a Playstyle Plus now.
Mm-hmm.
So having used players with Playstyle Plus, they are way more overpowered than people without them. An example for that would be like Foden's been released. I don't think he's got a Playstyle Plus. He's got one passing playstyle, central midfielder. That guy's a winger. He's not going to be good anywhere else. He's got all shooting playstyles. If they'd done what you had suggested, say, given him a, I don't know, the pressure one, like he can be under pressure. They give him that, and then he gets Trickster.
Yeah.
Which would have made that card way more interesting as a winger. Instead, you've got this central midfielder who can't pass. I played against him. Really tricky on the ball. Moves well. Can't pass for shit.
Yeah.
Playstyle for passing is so crucial. And I think that idea would fly really, really well. I think the role, everybody getting a role plus, is going way under the radar. I don't think anybody's paying attention to that. Nobody's talking about it. That's huge. That that roll full card suddenly goes from being a left back to there's so few inverted fullbacks.
100%.
I know that eventually she's going to have that role, and she will be killer from that role.
Because she can't play centre mid, can she?
Tight. No, I'm really
So,
happy about that.
so having that now, say you've got that new role, say that you can play, that would be really good for, say, your 4-1-3-2 formation, because all of a sudden you've
Yeah,
got a Rolfo that can not only defend but also go into that midfield, and you've got a bit more discipline, a bit more, oomph behind you now. Going, right, I can trust
yeah,
this card.
yeah, and especially the passing. That's the key thing, is the passing. That's what makes Neve Charles so good in that position, even though she's off role. Her passing's exceptional. But in terms of like Ultimate Scream and the promo and going forward, um, who would you like to see get an Ultimate Scream for our past and present teams? I'm going to throw that one to Ryan. You know your team very well.
Mhm.
You know your Porto players, your past and present players. Is there anyone that you see and go, I would love that card to get an Ultimate? Preferably someone you've probably not evoed.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I'd love that card to get an Ultimate Scream card.
So,
Is there
yeah,
anyone that
there's
comes to
two.
mind?
There's one I've seen in a prediction, which I think would be really, really cool, but actually cause problems for me because it's in a position where I'm probably more stacked than any other. So I've seen a prediction for Casemiro, which I love because it will be a usable Casemiro card, which I think will be super, super fun. However, I already have an 85 rated Nico Gonzalez Evo with, he's nearly Hullet Gang now. Um,
Mm.
and then in addition to that, I've got the informed Ruben Neves next to him. So I'm not shy of CDMs. And I can have Vitinha there as well. So really cool. Would like to see it. Wouldn't complain, but it would be interesting to see what the card looks like. The one card I would love is Samu, the striker. He's a Spanish striker, 6'4", absolute brick shit house. He scored a hat trick, I want to say the week before last. For whatever reason, did not get a team of the week. I was shocked. I was very, very annoyed because that would have been like an 82 rated team of the week card. I would have loved, 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 loved to have seen that in the side and Evo the hell out of it, just to have that big man, that 6'4" target man. And I know no matter who I played then, no one is going to want to play somebody who is 6'4" with like 85, 86 physical, causing you problems left, right, and centre, especially with the type of wingers
I
I'd have
love it.
around him in Quaresma, Futra, Luis Diaz, Gabby Viega, Toza, etc. So I'd look at him like, oh, you'd be a fantastic piece of the puzzle. But those would be my two. Casemiro, if you can play centre back, oh my God, different game. Would love to see Diego Dallo too. It's not like I'm a United fan. I'm not, but those would be two very
He
interesting
is.
cards. Fuck that.
He loves them. He loves them.
But yeah, Samu would be the one for me. Big, big Samu leading the line. What about you guys?
Oh, mine's a tough one. There's a winger called Gary Katamo. He scored in the most recent game for Sporting. He has a ridiculous amount of play styles. He's really quick. I have been working him. I've got his stats from like 72 shooting to 78, passing up from like 66 to 73. So if he got a card, even though I've put that time into those Evos, I know it would be better. Outside of that, if they were going to release a card from Sporting that was like, oh, who's their best player? A Trinchao card would be beautiful because he is already a great, great player. And Giovanni Quenda as well is a hell of a card. I I believe I have him some. I actually Quenda. I don't think I've got him.
Oh, mate, he's a baller in real life. I think Chelsea have signed him, and he's staying with Sporting just for this year now.
Is
He's
he a striker?
he's a right winger. He is incredible. What a player he is. He's very young. He's literally like your Esteval kind of player
18
as
year
well.
old wonder kid.
Oh, he's
Mm.
incredible. What a player. I'm watching him in the Champions League the other night. Who are they playing? Was it Marseille where they got the 2-1 win?
Yeah,
Incredible player. Incredible player. So he's definitely one to look out for.
yeah. No,
Selfish.
I don't. I don't have him. I don't
Oh,
have
mate,
him.
you need to Evo him. He's incredible.
Right. Yeah. No,
Incredible.
he's on the list. He's on the list. I haven't paid attention to him. I've been paying attention to my defense
What about you, Tom?
because I've been working on all Alamandi and things like that. Yeah, Tom,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Selfishly, I mentioned Kalanoglu the other day. He just seems. I think he's had a screen card like a few years ago. I'm pretty sure he looks like that kind of guy who would be like a Dracula, big teeth, looking at as a screen card. I think he's had one, so he might have one again. I'd like him in a DM kind of role like he is now. I really, really, really want either DeMarco, the left back, Or I would really, really like, my favourite choice would be Nico Barea, because he can play centre mid, but only centre mid. So I really want like a DM version of him where I can maybe move into a different formation. The 3-5-2, like Inter Milan play in real life, I really want Barella to be in that midfield with a Kalanoglu. Strange shout. I don't know how, far ahead EA plan these types of things. Mkhitaryan would be incredible. I've just seen that he's had a muscular injury. He's out for 5 to 6 weeks. So he's not going to be getting any cards anytime soon in terms of performance based. So that could be a really interesting one. Could they do a positional change and put him back as a cam, because he's another card that can only play centre mid? I'm looking at more so for versatile reasons than actually who I want to enjoy. Barella would be my number one, Mkhitaryan or Kalanoglu. You can probably see I need midfielders.
Could you imagine a Calhanoglu
The
box
one-
crasher? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh, with finesse shot or
The
something
guy
like that.
can,
Oh,
hit rockets anyway, but can you imagine that arriving late
Yeah.
unmarked? Oh my god, no way. No, thank you.
No, and with pace, no, I don't
it's
fancy
how
that
he
at
plays
all.
in real life. They lost 4-3 away at Juventus. I think that was Juventus' last game they actually won, because they've lost like 9 in a row and sacked their manager today. But
They sacked him, have
Kalanoglu,
they?
he sacked him now, yeah.
Ooh.
So Kalanoglu's been robbed of so many different cards this year. I say different cards, team of the week. He scored 2 away at Juventus and got man of the match. He didn't get the team of the week card because they lost, which normally happens, doesn't it, unless you score a hat trick. But I'd like one of those midfielders. But I've seen loads of leaks. I think there's a Bremer Juventus card that people are talking about. There's so many different avenues where people are going with it. But mainly they're looking at the heroes. But, we've seen other cards. Canate's one for Liverpool people are looking at. Marmouche would be a really, really nice one. Araujo's another one. Osimhen, Chloe Kelly, Ona Battle, and one for you, Doc. Gyökeres has been spoken about as well.
Yeah, he I haven't used him yet or picked him up. He had been working on a player called like I feel really bad by not remembering his name, but I've been working on a player called bear with me, Rodrigo Ribeiro, who I've taken from a silver card to a striker. He's really nice. So I've kind of been working him as a lone striker at the moment, but I think the Gyökeres will probably come into the team, especially if, like Ryan said, if they find a balance between the old patch and the new patch, then certainly Gyökeres' ability to shield and spin will be incredibly important.
I still use him now.
If I'm going to play,
He's very,
yeah,
very good.
if I'm going to play a 5-2-1-2, 5-3, any version of a 5 back, if he's a solo striker, I can hit it to him long. I can play him as part of a 2. I could go super physical and go Ronaldo, Gyökeres up front and just look to hit balls from wide. But then I've got to think about my defence and go, well, actually, I've got centre backs at full-back, so I can't do that. So it's complicated at the moment in terms of like where do I find room for him? Where do I get the best out of the team? So, like for example, Trincao is a great cam, great false 9, but maybe I want another striker up front. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, no, it was interesting to hear, first of all our perspectives and what we want, what we'd like to see. And I just wanted to sort of dial it back to the conversation we were just covering a little bit. Because, yes, we're speaking about our sort of personal wish list for our P&P, and that's a whole other conversation we'll move on to shortly. But the one thing I hope in Ultimate Scream Team 2 is that, yes, there is a slight improvement to cards, but on the whole, I'm quite happy with where the power curve's at. Purely because it's one of those things that once the horse is bolted, the horse is bolted. So I'm not against this more slow approach. I would like it to be a little bit more consistent, because you are right with things like the Foden SBC, a card that should be really, really good or really, really hyped just sort of isn't. And then on the reverse of that, then we had Pogba, who's pretty much been all over Twitter constantly and has been like the go-to SBC alongside a Busquets, alongside a Jordi Alba. So I'd like to see a little bit more consistency on the whole. But in terms of the speed of the power curve, I'm more or less happy with it. Like I said, it's a very, very difficult line to tread. But because of the nature of the beast, like I said, once that horse is gone, is bolted, there is no getting it back. So I don't mind this more conservative approach for now. I would like us to sort of navigate Ultimate Scream Team 1 and 2 now, see how these stats impact the game. I think that's going to be really interesting because we always speak about how the game plays differently later in the year, regardless of patches, because the stats allow you to do things you couldn't have done before. So things that may not have come across as broken or powerful, well, suddenly when your cards have the stats to pull off certain things, yeah, actually, no, we didn't realize that was broken, but actually it is. You just needed a certain threshold of player in order to pull it off. So yeah, I'm okay with this conservative approach for now. We've got probably RTTK coming up soon and Champions League and European promos. I would like to see the next jump there, and I think I'd be okay with that. I think we've measured it out quite well up till now. Personally, I would like to see gameplay continually worked on. If the next patch that comes along can be sort of a slight movement back the way we've just come from, then we can start looking at the power curve stuff and go, right, gameplay's in a relatively good spot. Let's now look at content.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about it in terms of the power curve. I'm sat here, 27th of October. I've got 5 gold players in my team. I've got 2 gold centre backs. I've got a gold CM. I've got 2 gold wingers, and they are great. They do their job. They play as well as promo cards. So when they did say they would be extending the life of cards, I think that they're talking about the higher end cards, not necessarily the 84s, 85s. So in terms of the power curve itself, it's really interesting that I've got these gold cards in my team that I won't drop. Particularly, so who did I get? I got a centre back. I can't remember who it was, but they weren't very good. Oh, Tamori, post patch Tamori, no strength, bullied, useless. Brought Kanate back in, did a great job, way better. So it's really good that we have this, and with Evo chaining coming up, in terms of your lower rated cards, your Militaos, people like that, where it's really never been more important to kind of be mindful of your team, be mindful of your evos, but also be mindful of how many positions, play styles that you're putting on these players, because that will prohibit them being involved in future evos. For example, if you have a centre back that can play right back and there's a centre back evo that says centre back only, you're screwed, and your defending's going to stay where it is. What do you think about that, Tom?
Yeah, and kind of talking about that whole Evo chaining, I'm in a really tough spot at the minute. I posted in our Discord earlier, kind of reaching out to all of you guys who are very familiar, and I've given 2 scenarios of the left back, Carlos Augusto from Inter Milan, going option 1 or 2, because whatever path I choose now, it will be pivotal to what I can then do further down the line. I can either give him more dribbling and passing, and as you said earlier, have him as a more progressive left back or a left mid/centre mid, or I can have him as more of a fullback versatile kind of role, which I've normally been using. So there are so many different ways, which I love now this year, where we can extend the shelf life of these cards, these random gold cards. And it's a nice problem to have. It's a nice way to have that discussion and have those comparisons. And kind of moving on to what you said there about Evo chaining being so important, I've had a Susic, who's basically like the Inter Milan's version of Modric. He's a silver card, 67 rated, I think he was at the start. I've got him to 80 rated now. And this new, help me out here, boys, that new CDM evolution that's come out. I've forgotten the
The
name
box
of it.
crasher one,
It might, yeah, it could be that. Yes, that one. Yes,
or the strong one, the strength one.
the one where it makes them to like 85 maximum rated as a CDM. So I think it came out
Yes,
literally on Friday. So yeah, the main one that came out, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, right, he can fit into that, but he'll be 85 rated, and I'm not fully happy with some of the stats that he's got as an 85. He's still got like say 69 defending, and if I'm going to be using him as a DM role, he's going to be 85 rated with 65 defending. I don't want to then hold him back from a further Evo. So I'm thinking all of these small free ones that we've got at the minute, I know they're mainly for wing backs and wingers. Those ones are so underrated. Iron Lungs, I think one is called at the minute, where it gives you 4 stamina each time. That's perfect for your cards to help boost up their physical. And there's another one where it boosts composure and reactions. That is so underrated. If you can use that and chain one player in particular from a silver, say, I know people are doing Rio and Gamoa at the minute. You can chain that card 2 or 3 times in the week, and they've gained 12 reactions. They've gained 12 composure. And all of these small steps that we take mean so much more this year. I just wanted to see, have you guys been utilizing the Evo change as much as I have?
I mean, I would imagine that with you, Ryan, and myself, we're both having to chain evos in certain areas. I know that I've taken Daniel Branganza and the striker I mentioned earlier through 3 evos in the hopes of making them better. Unfortunately, I've also made the mistake of evoing a player that is virtually impossible to evo again because of the number of his positions. Um, have you got anybody in mind that you've been doing that with in your team?
Yeah, so there's there's a player I'm looking at the minute, and it's Fabio Silva, who I believe is at Dortmund, former Wolves striker. I'm looking at putting him through the Strike Force Evo, I think it's called. Um,
Hmm.
Makes him very, very well rounded. But I was a bit stuck really because I could have put Samu in there and made Samu viable. I wouldn't say he'd be my first team striker, but certainly a bench option for sure. I was very, very tempted by that because I could put Fabio Silva into a left wing Evo, which gave him right wing as well. So it made him like this utility player across the front line. But again, you're looking at it going, that's great, but he's then got 4 positions. He's then going to have left mid, left wing, striker, right wing, and he's probably going to end up stuck at 83, 84 rated. How much, is that going to help me, not too long from now? And realistically,
And
from the P&P perspective, we're heading towards not the end game because it's only just begun, but that deadline, November 10th, is getting awful close. And I think it's only a matter of time now before all these decisions about Evos, chains, what players, what formation, what tactics all comes to a head. And I, for one, I can't wait. I'm so, so excited to see what that brings.
well, let me know. What are you excited about? Come
Well, I think it's world's worst kept secret, both in this Discord and the fact we're all sat here in the bloody kits. That we have got our European past and present Super League ready to get underway. And I've been really looking forward to this. And I was a bit concerned actually because there was a big gap between the start of the game and enjoying the game and the patches and this and that and whatever, and slowly putting our team together. So I can't speak for everybody, but I have been quietly working away in the background, making my team as good as it can possibly be. My Porto past and present has currently taken me to Div 1 in Rivals. So I'm very, very happy with that. And that definitely wouldn't have been possible in years gone by. It's fine, Doc. I don't think we play, do we? Or do we? I don't know. Oh, we do. Oh, I wonder if that's week 1. However, I was very, very excited to see today that once we started teasing that, hey, week 1 fixtures are going to drop, the level of excitement just went through the roof. People were like, oh my God,
Yeah.
who do I have? Who should I prepare for? And we did like a little marquee matchups thing. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to hand over to the man who has put in a lot of the hard yards behind the scenes for this past and present. I'm just the performing monkey. I'm a bit like Doc. I step to the front. I do my jazz hands. I step back. But there is a gentleman here who has put in a hell of a lot of work, and it seems only fair that he is the person to do this. But Tom, I'm going to hand over to you now to announce, discuss, whatever you want to do for week 1 of the European Super League. Now, I know my week 1 because obviously we've shared some of the workload there. Obviously, I know that you know your week 1, but Doc doesn't. So I think we start there. Tom, take it.
I don't like this. This. I don't like what. This isn't on. This isn't on. This is supposed to be this week in FC 26. You bastards.
Well, Doc, what can I say? I'll give you 2 options. Do you want me to just give it to you straight, or do you want me to do it the way they do when they're actually doing it live and give half an hour of just utter?
It's already been 90 minutes, man.
Yeah,
Just give it to me straight.
We'll just
Who am I playing?
send it. So I'm going to be looking at my other screen here, my supercomputer where I fixed and rigged everything. Hence why I'm in an Inter Milan kit and you're in a shitty Sporting and a Porto.
No.
It's not a shitty kit. It's a shitty club.
So, without further ado, I'm going to go down my list. We're going to be going who's home, who's away. We have got, I'm just going to go from whoever here. Ben versus Burr. So that is Bayern Munich versus Marseille kicking off. Shout out to Burr, who showed his team earlier. He can do 4 different squads. That's how much he has grinded this past and present
He's
league.
had a lot.
So
He's had a lot of promo
applause
cards. It's been awesome.
to Burr, who has been putting in so much effort. Ben, I think he's just finished the Kane SBC, and I think he might have the Goretzka as well. There are some incredible players that he can have. We have got Chalem, who I believe is the Bayern Leverkusen team, and he's also
He's
been
got a good team.
He's got a
He's got a
very
good
good
team. Yeah,
He
yeah.
is
Quentin
playing-
Hincape.
Exactly. He is playing a very, very good friend of the show. To shout out to him, he is playing Roberto. He's playing Rob on game week.
Is
5.
he?
We are having a German clash. We are having Frankfurt from Rob versus Chalem with Bayern Leverkusen. So good luck to both of you fellas.
Yeah, definitely.
we have
Watch out for the
also
ball
got-
hop.
Yeah,
He
watch
ball
out
hops
for
like
the ball
a
hop. We have then got the Tatty Scones himself, Darren Adam, repping his home club of Celtic. Not good enough for the Champions League. They can't even beat a Kazakhstan team. But hopefully they will be. Hopefully he will be able to beat AS Roma from Josh Does Games. What a blimmin' match that is on match day 1.
Ugh.
What a match.
That Roma team's tasty.
Oh,
I've
it
seen
is.
That's
it.
the
He's
great
got a
level
lot
of
of
there because I
players.
think Darren's a very
A lot of
good
players.
player. However, Celtic versus Roma is a no contest by way of squad.
Oh, absolutely. It could be
Also-
that nice balance because we know, obviously, I haven't been able to play with Josh as much as an Xbox user, but from talking to Darren, he is coming for the kill. He's silently going along his way, just watching everybody's teams being built. And if you see the amount of stuff and the Evos that he's got going, and then you sprinkle in a little Henrik Larsson up front, and you go, right, this guy means
Well,
business.
Celtic might win something after all then.
Well, I doubt it. We've then got Dill. We got my good friend Dill, who, shout out to you, I went to college and university with him. He is repping Ajax, and he is going to be facing Manzo. Manzo, the new manager as of today of Juventus after they've sacked his. So he's the interim manager of Juventus in real life and the PNP. So good luck to both of you fellas. This one, for me, game week 1, this is the El Clasico, not from the actual lineup. But from the marquee, this is the big one. Dominic Paul, who is repping Lille. Incredible cards, by the way. Incredible cards. He's facing Neil over the pond in America, who's got Atletico Madrid. Lille versus Atletico Madrid. Both of these boys mean business. They are both out there. And they've both said they're going for Champions League spots. So let's see.
2 underdog teams.
2 very underdog teams. Dominic is a baller. Next one, I love this. This game, if there's one game where you look at it and go, this is vibes, this is vibes. We've got Ethan, who is just the most skillful player, and he's got Fiorentina, and he got, luckily, Chiellini in his hero pack, or icon pack at the start of the game. So what are the chances of Chiellini playing 1 season in Fiorentina, and he's got him? Fantastic. He is playing Gav. Shout out Gav.
No.
Oh my god, what a game. What a game.
Having his Galatasaray team.
Oh, he's Barcelona. Barcelona,
that's it. That's it. Barcelona. Oh,
yeah.
Jesus
You'll
You'll be
Christ.
having Ethan doing ball scoops and turns with Chiellini, and you'll be having Gav with Claudia Pina just doing fidget spins on the edge whilst Chiellini just
You know what?
2-foots
Gav's
him.
going to hate that. The idea of Gav playing somebody like Ethan, that's his worst nightmare.
Oh,
So that's going to be
100%.
so interesting to watch.
I've got a few more for you. We're not done yet. There's
Yes, let's
12
go.
games every week. We've got Foot Ethan, lovely bloke. He's the Port Vale. Normally he does Port Vale for all of his RTGs. This year,
Yeah.
he's got Villarreal, which is a very unique one. Again, he can use Forlan, that was an SBC the other day. He is playing Tomo Foot, who is new to our Discord, who's repping Borussia Dortmund, and they have had some cards this year. That Pulisic card as well. I think he might have done Pulisic Player of the Month and Haaland Player of the Month. So you can imagine how good that up front must be.
Haaland.
It's incredible. I love this matchup. I was teasing the boys so much in Discord today. Shout out Steve, who is repping PSV Eindhoven. He is hosting the Turkish champions Galatasaray with Smithy. What a game that
That's
is.
it.
PSV versus Galatasaray. I don't know who's winning that one. I do not know. Do not know.
That's going to be a tough one.
It's a tough
Steve's a
one.
good player.
It is both cracking players. We've got Tho, who is going under the radar, very quiet at the minute, but I know he's building that Napoli side in the background. We haven't mentioned how Napoli have got all these incredible cards. McTominay,
Yeah.
I think, has just got a new card as well, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic card.
With incisive.
Yeah, and he is playing the grafter, that is Ben Thorney, and he's probably feeling a bit thorny because he got that silver Eusebio card. He managed to do him in the end. So he's a card that, although he's a silver, he's a very, very good card to use.
Yes.
Which leaves 3 fixtures. Okay. I'm going to do yours last, Doc.
Oh,
Leave yours to last. I have got a person who I really didn't want to play first game week, and I told him he's my dark horse for the whole tournament. I'm facing Will, United VYD. It is Inter Milan versus Real Madrid game week 1 at the San Siro. Oh my God. And I know he's been grafting. He's got this, who's the striker for Real Madrid, the youngster? Is it Alvaro Moreno or something like that?
That's
He's
such a
evoed
hard
him.
game. That's ridiculous.
I've just seen on Gauntlet, Benzema comes out tomorrow. So he gets Benzema just
tonight,
before
I
game
think.
week 1 as
It's
well.
not tomorrow.
Oh, incredible. And then we go on to the Goliaths of social media, Bertie with his AS Monaco team. Pogba and Thuram in the midfield, by the way.
What?
Yep.
He's playing Ryan game week 1.
Sorry, Bert.
Porto versus AS Monaco.
I'm looking forward to that.
Mate,
That's going to be tough because my team's quite small. Portuguese teams, for whatever reason, seem to be quite sort of diminutive, and that has its strengths and weaknesses. When I saw Bertie, I was like, oh, that's a big, big midfield. That's going to be really, really tricky.
It's a big battle, that is. So, Doc, I don't know how familiar you are with who's left. And it's a bit
my
of
mind's Swiss cheese. I don't know. I'm just sat here stressed. You keep on telling me about all these things that people have done, and I'm just sat here. I'm like,
teasing you. Well,
I've got an 80. My highest rated centre back's 84, and that's an Evo.
Well, Doc,
Dead.
Let's hope that you do the same as what Sporting did the other day and beat a French team at home, because Sporting beat Marseille at home the other day. You will be hosting Jordan with PSG on game week 1, and he has got over 1 million coins to spend on that team. Good luck, Doc. That's all I can say. Jordan's a cracking player as well.
You fixed it, right?
Super computer.
Right. Jordan, you dropped. No more blitz for you. You fuck off.
End recording.
Support decision. Stone. I'm gonna find out where you live.
Where's the
I'm gonna
gift of that
stood over
fellow in
your
the
bed.
office, just like throwing papers and just...
Oh, don't. I can't believe that. I know how good those PSG players are. I know how good Pacho is. I know how good Kvaratskhelia is. I know how good Marquinhos is. I know how good Vitinha is, even though he can't shoot. And then he's got the past and present aspect. So he's got Colin Moani, he's got Mbappe, he's got all of these different people. That's shit.
Yeah, you're right to take him back there. You're definitely right, because he's even saying tonight he's going to buy the new Desiree Doué ratings reload, as well as Matuidi to go into the midfield. So God bless you, Doc. God bless you.
Well, he's got to play me.
Exactly, mate. You're going to bring your game. You got to remember
I'm
how
going to
you
bring
play.
my game. I am gonna have lots of excuses. That's it. That's what I'm gonna have. 1,000 different. I can't believe that. Firstly, Tom, amazing. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for giving the fixtures a shout out. I am aghast at how much work you've put into this and how great this is going to be. I'm really looking forward to being able to see maybe people who stream games, if that's capable and doesn't affect the connection. Because we're friends as well, we're all getting along. We can have, if we're playing a game and the connection's dog shit, I don't know if we'll be able to make a judge's ruling on there where it's like, hey, we've both been trying to play tonight. It's really bad. It's 150 ping. Can we play tomorrow?
Yeah.
And things like that. So, I mean, that's the great thing about it, is that there's a lot of unity within the organization. It's not like we're all against each other, even though we are. Thank you for doing that, and basically, it's just had such a massive impact on like the personal journey that I'm making within the game. Where I have got this sporting team where I've got the shirt, I've got 28 Ronaldo on the back, I've got the alert set up on my phone. Pixel, Emma, my partner, she's got the sporting fixtures, so she tells me. She'll turn around. I didn't even say anything to her. She just turned around and went, "They won today." And I went, "Who won?" She went, "Sporting." And I was like,
Brilliant.
"I love you." I think that the I think I can build a team that will be competent. I am hard to play against. I am not your friend. I am defensively extremely sound, and if I'm playing a 5-back where I've got 5 people to kick shit out of you, you're going to be in trouble. Especially if I've got a CDM that's there as well. But I'm also really progressive and attacking. I'm somebody who plays 95 depth. I threw that out there. I'm 95 depth and 30 fullbacks. Let's go. So from a tactical perspective, I have. Let me put it this way: I have a good understanding of the positional importance of tactics, and it's basically this: is that whatever your shape is off the ball is your defensive shape. So whatever way you want to defend, that's your formation, and then you can make it attacking. So I think about Tom's, where Tom's turns from a 5 into a 3-1-4-2.
Yeah.
Like there's those kind of options open. So as much as I'm going to be dependent on my defense to beat Jordan, I'm also going to be, he's going to have to get the ball off me. He's going to have
100%.
to, I move the ball pretty well, and I know from how he plays pro clubs that he is just direct. He gets to the wing, he gets to the byline, he cuts back. And he can cut back goal against me. I'm not gonna be one of those guys that turns around and says, "Oh, you can't do that against your friends. You can do anything against your friends." Fuck them.
Absolutely. And talking about your friends, Doc, you
Yes.
probably noticed my eyes have gone back to my screen. I'm just going to quickly give you your last run in because it's a very interesting run.
Okay.
8 match days. Match day 6, you are hosting Barcelona, Gav. Okay.
Well, I can get in his head. That's fine.
And so it begins.
Match day 7, you are at home again, and you are hosting Galatasaray with Smithy. You can get in his head as well.
Get confused.
Yeah, and then the last one, all you've got to do is wind him up on Twitter because he will bite. You are away at Bayern Munich versus Ben. Okay, so you've got some.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Oh.
I'll just get. I'll just be straight to the Japanese ambassador. I'll be like, "Here's the cunt. This is the one. This is the guy who abused you, right here." Honestly, no, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I have no other option than to lie. Brian, what do you think of my horrible run of fixtures against these teams that are ridiculous?
Well, that's the joys of getting the Portuguese teams, mate. We're in it together. Don't forget, we've got this Constructors' Cup thing going on.
You do.
So whatever happens, I am rooting for you against all these other ones.
Yeah, you got to do something. You got to get some points on the board.
That's right. I'm working on it. It'll be fine. Week 30, week 1. But no, all jokes aside, it's really, really exciting. I think we're going to have a lot of discussions going forward about this week in, week out. There's so many other things we could talk about now, but I am well aware that this already is quite a long episode. So quick couple of things I wanted to cover. First of all, friendly reminder to anyone who's involved or anybody who's listening, even if you lose all 8 games, the competition does not end there. You will be split off into one of 3 European competitions, whether that's Champions League, Europa,
Losers Cup. Let's go.
So you're saying there's a chance? No. So you could.
So there's a chance.
You could finish dead last in the group stages, but somehow pull it out the bag. And I would love to see something like that in one of the competitions somewhere along the line. I think that could be fun. So I think that would be really interesting to see how that plays out. We've got the Constructors Tournament going on as well, where all the nations are banded together by their nation league. So I'd love to see how that's going to pan out as well. In addition to that, I won't go into too much detail now because it's been worked on behind the scenes, and Tom already probably knows what I'm going to say here. this tournament will not be the end of your P&P. So anybody who has ideas that, hey, I can do this till January, February, and I can fuck it all off, tough shit. You're locked in for a while yet. We've got other things coming on the way, more tournaments, more leagues, more things for you to engage with. So watch this space. And last but not least, I love this podcast. I love being a guest. It's always fun. And I'm privileged, really, to have been on here a good few times now. And I've thoroughly enjoyed. I know last session you had Griff and Darren on, but what I would really like to
We
see,
did.
and this is an open invite, really, to anybody involved in the PMP League, we would love to have you on. We would love to get people who are on
Yeah.
the same game week. So I'm, pulling out of nowhere then. But, for example, Jordan and Doc, I would love to see a podcast.
Easily set up.
Oh,
Easily
so
set
easy.
up.
I'd love to
Easily
see
I'd
a-
done.
love to facilitate a really toxic match where they've just been passing it around the back. And I'm just like, boys, I'm just going to sit here, open mic session, off you go.
No, but the thing is, we could set those promos up so easily. We can
Easily.
just invite people in. They can face to face go at each other. We can referee, and then we can cut that into something and release it for a game week. And it's easily done.
But no, I
It's
think
easily
that would
done. So
be really
thank you
interesting to see
for that great idea.
and to have people on board both before games and also afterwards. So yeah, open invite. This has been a labour of love, and we're very fortunate to have a number of people involved in this process who are making it easier. We've already said it already, but Tom and his hard work behind the scenes, I cannot stress to you guys how much work goes into it. Across the board, and even things you have to think about off the cuff, like the rules and things that come out. So we're very blessed to have the people we do running this, and I just hope that everybody enjoys it. Really, it is a labour of love. I can't wait to see how it pans out. Hopefully, with a Porto top of the table and a Portuguese Constructors' Cup to take home.
That would be nice. You'll do your best to win that one, Ryan.
Oh, I can do as good as I can, mate. I need the rest of this.
I'll be along for the journey. I'll just be the kid waving the flag behind. Yay! with the propeller hat. That's me in this
Crayon up a
one.
nostril. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, 100%. But like before we close out the show, it'd be good to look forward to things that are coming up, and we'll just run through them really quickly. We have season 2 of Pro Clubs coming, with the cap going from 50 to 60. This is going to open up other options. So, as a position that I play the boss position. Sorry, the enforcer, boss, whatever. I always get the name confused. The dumb centre back. I play that position, and there is a way you can get block as a playstyle plus, and that's my goal. I want to get block as a playstyle plus to go with aerial fortress, so that I can do that. But then that will also give me this advantage where, if I'm the last defender, I get an increase to speed, aggression,
good.
and vision. So there's loads of bonuses that you get that come with that. Tom, in terms of your player, and I know you're in a bit of a tricky situation because you've got a couple of builds going on. One of them that you're trying, is it the SU build you're trying to get going?
Basically, that's going to now overtake this other one. I've done a lot of planning. Like you've said, there's all of these different points that we're going to be getting. And I just went with, at the start of the game, something simple, something easy. Ping pass plus, we know it works early on. Now we're going to have extra points and things like that. It's time to really build the true Essian. The true, as fair play to Darren and Griff, they described me as the old age Gerrard, in that kind of Brendan Rodgers latter era of his career. It's time to really unlock that kind of player where it's physical, box to box. I'm going to nickname it the box crasher because that's exactly what the plan is. I'm going to sit in front of our own defence, arrive late going forward as well. Who knows? We may even change a formation. We might just be experimenting once more with the new season. It all depends on personnel. I know this is something we'll probably discuss in another episode. Hopefully get some of the lads on, because shout out to one person in particular who's been so consistent. Actually, I'll give him two. Biro has come in. Incredible player. Very nice to see him play in midfield, because midfield's such a hard position. Ryan, oh my God, not Fitzy, but the other Ryan that comes in.
Yeah.
The flair that he has is just incredible. So watch this space with his build. We could be utilizing him somewhere else on the pitch just to get the best out of him. We're going to build a team now. As Ryan said, there's another gear to go. We're going to find that gear. We're going to go on another streak. We set out, we did say, Griff said last week, we want top 10 in the world, no matter how hard that will be. It's achievable. I believe in the boys here. Stay together as a team, carry on building, and we will get there.
Yeah, and now see the points for your pro, Ryan. I look at it and see two play styles that really suit your game already, particularly the whip pass. Now, in terms of your pro, is there a third option in the play styles that you might want to change to, or is this now going to be about putting on the points in the areas that you need them?
No, this is purely stats. I'm very, very happy with the playstyle pluses I have. There's nothing on the specialization that I can see, unless they bring out new ones, which I doubt. But no, for me, quite straightforward. It's just going to be improving my pro in the areas I feel that's necessary. I think for me, that's probably going to be in dribbling and shooting. My pro is already relatively fast. The passing is more than good enough. I think really it'll be more interesting to see the silver play styles that come out and tinkering and tweaking that. So I don't think it's going to be a huge change for me, but I'm quite fortunate in that I have more or less what I need already. I think Griff's in a similar position where he's like, nope, I'm happy with what I've got. This is now just about improving my player, which I appreciate is the boring answer, but it is the honest one.
No, it's the good answer. It's the good answer. And from both of you guys, I mean, look, Frenzy is you guys. Um, you know, how are things looking for you? And for example, are you looking for a sponsor for your kits? Are you looking to move formation to get the best out of everyone post patch? Things like that. Is that something that you're looking going forward?
Yeah, so it's definitely something that's still in the early stages. We have got the Pro Clubs boardroom, as I said, so important in absolutely everything that we do. If there is a sponsor that would like to, help, us spread the word of Pro Clubs, at the end of the day, that's all we want to do is just promote how good this game mode is and get more people involved. Not whether it's them joining our Discord community or not. We are looking for real kind of kits for us to have for the members of our club. That's something we're trying to facilitate in the background. I know Griff is kind of working in this kind of business at the minute, so maybe shout out to Griff. He can hopefully hook us up with something. It would be nice to, yeah, exactly. It would be nice to have one of those for our kits. But yeah, I just want to carry on spreading the love with Pro Clubs because that's the community game mode in my eyes. It's the one where you are just one person. And as you said before, Doc, it's kind of bringing back that kid in you of going, right, I may not play on a pitch in real life now, but this brings back so many good feelings of just talking and communicating and fighting for each other. Every match means something. So
Too real. It's too real.
It's
Trust
fantastic.
me.
Yeah.
Honestly, it reminded. I made it. I thought I made a tackle on the try line against Yorkshire, and he scored, and that was 27 years ago, and I still think about that moment.
Yeah.
Right? And literally last night was just like, like how you hear the pros talk about, like, yeah, I just went home, put myself in a dark room. Literally what I did last night. I was just lying there Emma was like, are you asleep? And I was like, no. She was like, what are you thinking about?
Everything.
I think I'm getting dropped. I think I'm getting dropped. I think I'm getting kicked out of the team. She was like, why? I said, I played
Are
so
you now
poorly.
not the defensive Darren? Like you do so good and you make one, not even an error that was completely yours. I'd lost the ball a couple of times in midfield and you just remember that one thing that you do wrong. We're mentality giants, but we need to be kind as well. We're all incredible in our own right.
I'm a bit of a self-flagellator. I think I have to after every game. I just like just on the back, like you will bend the run, you will get better. Like that's kind of my mentality to sport, which isn't a healthy one, but it works for me. But no, I don't feel comfortable at all. Every game I play is nerve-wracking. Last night I played 2 games before we even started in dropping. First game played really well. Second game made a lot of mistakes. And I was like, oh, thank fuck that wasn't my second game. And I did something in the first game that I should have clipped. but a ball came over the top, and I was being chased by a striker, and I just, when you flick the stick back and flick it over your
Yeah.
head, I did that in the box, and I was like, I'm glad I got that out of my system because Ryan would fucking kill me.
Even if you pull that off, I'd be like, absolutely not. You never do that again. Even if you
Head
nailed
back to
it.
Milton.
Exactly. Don't ever do that again. What are you
I wouldn't give
doing?
a shit if
You've
you
got
nailed it. It would be a
55
case of, well
dribbling.
done. Never do that again.
In
Yeah,
words,
I
in
was.
words of Darren Adam, you've never done that before. You're not going to do it again.
Yeah, but I'm glad I got it out of my system. No, I never feel comfortable. I think about every mistake because I know what I'm good at. So I don't need to be like, I don't need to praise myself and be like, oh, well done, you intercepted so well and you stepped up. Well, I know I'm
What's
good
the
at that.
Balotelli
That's
quote?
fine. It's the
Do
stuff
you,
I'm.
do you thank the
No,
postman or whatever it is? Or do you
say
celebrate?
again?
Does the postman celebrate when he delivers a letter? That sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like that's what I'm there
Yeah.
to do. Like Roy Keane mentor, that's my job. Like it's the mistakes I make where I'm like, can't get done by that again. So I've been done by a few tricks that have made me bite, and I'm like, got a jockey better in the
It's
box.
such a
Got a lot.
methodical game, though, because it's the most humbling game mode in the whole of FC. You could get a
Oh God, yeah,
penalty, you could be on top of the world, and the next minute, I've had it in midfield, someone's rainbow flicked me or done some right bumper flick over my head and then volleyed it, and I've just gone, do you know what? Fair enough to you. I look like an absolute tit, and that's okay.
yeah,
That's absolutely
yeah.
okay.
Mine hinges on the win
But
or the loss.
no,
I've got to be honest. I can have the best game ever. If we've lost, I couldn't care less. I could score 5. If we've lost, no, not having it. I absolutely hate it. I couldn't care less
I'm the same.
about. And don't get me wrong, would it be nice to bag a hat trick or whatever? Absolutely, because you probably get the win as a result. But for me, it's all about that win loss, that team achievement. I'll happily be the star player. I'll happily be the worst player as long as we bloody win.
That's all I care about.
As long
Is
as I
is
score a free kick as well.
I get that in there.
I don't care about that. You're an egomaniac. But no, what I really care about is I care about one, people feeling like they gave it all. I never feel like missed opportunities, missed tackles, whatever. But I never feel like we come off the pitch and it's like you should have ran more, or you didn't come back, or why was your stamina like this much at the end of the game when you could have been doing that, And I think people like yourself and Barrow are really humble in that department, where you really do track and work and things like that. And it's just such an exciting game mode in terms of being part of an 11 and then on top of that being responsible for certain aspects of the game. So like if you're a centre back, you are the last line of defense.
Yeah.
Like your job is to stop that guy. Like, and if you don't, they're gonna score.
Yeah.
So it's like everything needs to be perfect for maybe 10 minutes of the game
Yeah.
of the 90. I'm active for 10 minutes, but those 10 minutes are like you if you
Oh,
make a mistake, we're done.
yeah. 100%.
So it's really weird the intensity levels that like you can be stood on the halfway line and just sort of as the dip of the diamond, maybe a fullback's come in and just wait and wait and wait and wait, and then all of a sudden it's action.
Absolutely.
Like track the run, match the speed, pick out the players. Yeah, but I'm really excited about season 2, and I'm excited about season 2 of the pass with the Brazil theme that seems to be coming out of it, and we'll talk more about that when we record again. Tom, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up in going forward, or from yourself?
Yeah, so as you said, the new season's coming. Please watch out for our socials. So again, I'm sure we'll do it before we go. I'm Frenzy2806. So this is where you will find, say, the game week 1 fixtures. You can find that on our Twitter, which we will post this evening, which is the 27th, or you'll see it in a few days. Also follow our TikTok if you want to find them in the actual day where they do happen. But yeah, I'm really excited. We've got that Brazilian theme going. Hopefully we can get a few cards for our teams. Hopefully we can just have fun and grind some objectives together, maybe some new Rush tournaments as well. That would be really, really good, especially for clubs. Absolutely love the Rush tournaments on there. But no,
Yeah.
from myself, thanks again for having this really in-depth discussion. It's been really, really nice. We got so much to look forward to, so much to grind. It's currently 7 p.m. on a Monday evening, and I haven't started
Yep.
Champs yet. So that will be my evening.
Well, that's a good evening to have.
Very good.
I don't have much more to say, but I would like to give Ryan the opportunity to close out the show if he'd like to.
Well, thank you
Ryan,
very much.
what are your thoughts? And you just go with your
Okay,
heart.
well, thank you very much, first of all, again, for having me back on. You've not got sick of me yet, so I must be doing something all right. No, I'm so excited for everything that is to come, um, both in terms of the stuff we are in control of, so the pro clubs, the past and present, because that I feel is going to explode into life over the next month now. So I can't wait to see where this journey is going to take us. I can't wait to see the release of the video tonight on Monday 27th, and watching the meltdowns that ensue from that. And just all the future podcasts that are going to come as a result. I think this is a really, really good reason to be positive about our future within FC26. And on the whole, patches that come and go, they are what they are. Let's do our best to enjoy it and have fun with it. And again, we've said it a million times over, taking ownership of that game for better or for worse. So for those of you that have listened in and put up with us for the best part of 2 hours now, thank you very much and thank you for your time. We'll see you very soon.